recording because I always forget otherwise. I forgot last time altogether. Or either I'll forget 5 minutes into it.
Yeah. You know, there's some really great presentations that we've had here. I mean, sorry, I'm going to end the streak. I was looking back through some stuff, and that the stay conversation was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a really good concept, you know.
Yeah.
And we're going to get some more out for that. So yeah, we've actually got a few people, and I don't, you know, any department that wants to be a part of that, we'd love to have y'all conduct that at your department and send us back whatever information you gain. So, but we're going to do some sort of reaching out nationally and see if we can't get some information on that. Yeah, that's just a great concept.
Yeah.
I'd never heard anything about it until so Dr. Lynch is part of her group, and she brought it up, and we're doing these national surveys, and we're getting ready to kick it off with a general public survey to 35,000 people across the country. We're asking them, the general public that don't volunteer, you know, some different things about, well, do you volunteer for other things, you know, your church or your local community, and you know, what barriers do you perceive? And it's about 30 questions that we're going to ask the general public. And again, it's going to go out to 35,000 people, and it's all in areas that are served by volunteer departments. So
wow, that's awesome.
Get some good information back on that. But we've got 5 or 6 other projects under this survey project.
Yeah.
And that's something that Dr. Lynch brought up, said, hey, there's this thing called state conversations that would really fit in good with volunteer departments. So
what a great idea.
It is, yeah.
You know, I'll go on record, especially since you're recording that. You're a good, smart guy, Spencer.
I'm not a smart guy.
And if you're not recording, I'll say it later when you're.
I'll wait till my boss is on. My performance evaluation is coming up next month. So she said she was going to be a little late. I'll let you know. I'll give you a cue or something.
Is Tiger on the line?
I don't see him yet. No. He wasn't on the last one. I'm gonna give him a hard time. I know he was with he sent me a picture the other day. He was with, I don't know if you know, Walter Campbell out of Maryland, but Walter does it great. He's a comedian, and he does a lot of really neat messaging on social media. I only follow him on LinkedIn, but he does a lot of stuff with pop culture and relating. You'll always find, you know, if the Emmys are going on or something, and I think one of the people that won the Emmys, he put a Burtonsville, that's the department he's with, coat on one of the people that won the Emmys, and they're sitting up there holding their statue or whatever, you know, the award, and got a Burtonsville coat on. He just does a lot of stuff like that, and but he's pretty funny too. But
good stuff.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a few people on.
Awesome.
Give it another couple minutes, and then we'll get started.
Man, it got dark fast all of a sudden. I just looked out and I'm like, oh my God, that's dark.
I guess it's about time, though. We'll get our 1 week of fall before winter hits here. So, how's the weather up there, New York?
It's not. It was really warm today. Like yesterday, when I got home from work, I went swimming.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we haven't been able to swim for at least a week.
Well, it's very unusual, but I was sweating, so I'm like, oh man, I just got to go in there and jump in the pool.
Nice. Very nice.
Not usual for this time in September.
Yeah.
It's October.
Well, I'll go ahead and kick things off. Are you all set, Bill? I'll give you a welcome.
Yep, I am.
Well, hello, everybody. I hope you're all well. Tonight we've got Bill Morris with Bushnell's Basin Fire Department up outside of Rochester, and Bill has been in the department there for 37 years, so he's got a little experience there, and he's also been in sales for over 30 years, and so I thought he was the perfect person to talk about how this really relates to selling your department. It's something that we need to get used to, but we don't hear enough about. And so I reached out to him to ask him to present on this. And I'm gonna let Bill take it from here.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Spencer. And we've had, we're just commenting on some of the great presentations we've had, really going back through the year. How many great presentations about branding your department, about the Citizen Core, the Stay conversation. So, I'm just happy to be involved in kind of the long line of presentations now. I kind of do feel like the mutt that got into the Westminster Dog Show. I don't stand a chance in hell of winning, but I'm in good company. So with that, I do want to, because I know there's some folks from Brighton on here, and I do want to do a quick shout out. They're the big brothers. Anybody that knows the Rochester area, Brighton is one of the most well-respected departments in the area, and certainly even beyond Rochester. But I'm publicly announcing for the first time that Bushnell's Basin is the proud recipient of a $70,000 SAFER grant for recruitment and retention. And Rick, I don't know if Dave or Paul or anybody else is on, but all that really came about from all the help that Brighton gave us. So thank you, publicly acknowledging and thanking you. It was great help. So,
well, congratulations on the grant. Whatever part we did play, glad to do it. And hopefully it will make things successful for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to get started on the concept of selling your organization. And I've never been a very passive person. I've never been one to wait. If I want something, I go and try to get it. I guess selling was in my nature. My mother used to say that I was able to sell ketchup popsicles to a woman wearing a white mink. So I guess that served me well in my life. And as you can see here, I've been with Bushnell's Basin Fire Association in outside of Rochester, New York, upstate New York. And I'm the national sales manager for Cooper Vision. We make contact lenses. And I previously was the national business manager for a division of Xerox Corporation. So about 30 plus years in sales, and then 37 years in emergency services. Now we've heard, especially those in the recruitment side of the house, that the fire service might have a difficult environment in which to recruit volunteers. There's all kinds of information. There's as much information as you could possibly want. That there's less volunteers. That the department is feeling pressured to move to career or more combination departments because there's less time available to volunteer, more demands on the time. And if you accept all this, you might say that volunteers will be out of the fire service in some period of time, potentially. If you accept that, then so be it. It's going to be a slow but certain death. If you don't, and you want to join with me and join with others, we can certainly make a lot of inroads. And anybody that doesn't believe this, really get involved in talking to Spencer Cheatham for 5-10 minutes, and you're hooked. You're going to get motivated. You're going to feel enthused, and you're going to go do what you need to do to sell your department. So really, what do we have to offer? Now, there's some departments that have a low SAT program where maybe there's a financial incentive for somebody to volunteer with the fire department. That could be the case. We don't have that. Other departments do. What we can offer, and what I think all of us can offer, is camaraderie, a place in the community, appreciation from the community, where we can build confidence and skills for our members, provide excitement and a chance to test yourself, and more on that down the road. And then a really, really cool hat, many shirts, sweatshirts. My wife said if I come home with another t-shirt from the fire department, I'm going to have to start getting rid of one because I'm out of room apparently. Real fast, anybody that weathered the storm with the pandemic, I can speak from our organization, Bushnell's Basin, where we had unbelievable support from the community. They knew that we were up and running 24/7 the whole time during the pandemic. We even went out and did these drive-by birthday parades for young kids that, hey, they couldn't have a birthday party. So we took our fire trucks by and blew the siren, and the kids were in heaven. And, we did that quite a bit. We also did one where we just went one afternoon out, drove around our district. Unbelievable the response we got from the community. They were cheering us. They were holding up signs. You would have thought we were, saving the day. Ghostbusters showing up, and after getting rid of all the ghosts. So, you can use that. That's really food for you, and something you can use to go attract people. So I'm going to talk, this is going to be maybe new news for some people, but it really isn't. We're doing this probably inherently right now, but think about this. We're going to be going into a process, the sales process. I've lived this for the past 30 years, that sales is a process. It's not somebody screaming into the TV and saying, hey, I'll beat any deal on the street, whatever. It's really a process. And we can apply it to the fire service in our recruiting. And it really starts with, a suspect. Everybody is a potential member or a suspect. And we always say there are two kinds of people. There's volunteer firefighters, and then there's people that have not been asked yet. And by and large, I can tell you that holds true a lot. Not absolutely, but a lot. So what you need to do is you need to make an outreach, and it needs to be pretty broad. We call that casting a wide net, where we have news articles, use television, radio, other media, surveys. All of our residents get a survey after we respond to their home or business, and ask how we did. But we also have in there some information about us. We're all over email, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We do call reports in the newspaper and on our website. And our website feeds right into our Facebook page. We do recruitment letters. Our fund drive letter, also on the back of it, is a recruitment letter. So we use that real estate, that paper real estate, to help us out. As soon as somebody shows interest, then they become a prospect. And there's not a lot of really science there. But when they say, hey, yeah, I might be interested. Yeah, I want to know more. Or they walk up and start talking to you at a public event. they become prospects. And at that point, we want to guide them through the process. Where they're no longer prospects, they might take themselves out of the running, or in some cases, we take them out of the running. They show up and they, really seem interested about, how to, have fires and things like that. Maybe they're not what we want. We can't take everybody. That's really a key thing. Who wants to be part of an organization that accepts you? I mean, think about that. I say that all the time. This isn't a very good place. It accepted me. But, really continually sell your organization. And even when members become part of the group, continually sell them on the organization. That's part of the retention. And also it encourages them to bring in their friends and family. So that, continues to grow the organization. When we talk about sales, we talk about the sales funnel, this thing called a sales funnel. This is involved in every sales cycle, one way or another. And there really is a funnel. You start off with a whole lot of prospects that come to you really because we cast a wide net. We created some awareness. Maybe in that awareness, we created, some of the people took an interest in what we were saying. And then they considered what we said and how it might apply to them and what they might want to do. So their intent. Then they start thinking about it. Maybe they're talking about it, talking it to their family, to their neighbors. Hopefully we can be part of that discussion. That's why we always want to give them information that would help in their decision and help certainly push us, but also how to contact us. So if they have questions, how do we how can we talk about it? How can we be part of that discussion? And then purchase. Well, this is the sales cycle, but the purchase in our case means that they join. This is it. We see this over and over again. When it starts at the top, and there's a lot of awareness, as we move down the cycle, things start getting smaller and smaller, tighter and tighter, until there's a purchase or a sale, or in this case, that the person joins. And then what do? We don't say, hey, that's great. We had a great year. We do this all over again. And we start with the next cycle. Maybe we're bringing in more than one person. This doesn't imply that there's just one person, but it implies that we get to the point where we bring people in. So what do we do in our outreach program? And this is really a good build when we had the presentation earlier on building your brand and your image in the community. We do some advertising. We do as much as we can for free, honestly, but there's also some things that we pay for. So, we're on TV, we're on the radio, internet, social media. In New York State, they have this great program. Unfortunately, we didn't get to use it this year, but called Recruit New York, where the state provides us a whole lot of money to put together an open house situation where we can invite people in and see us kind of in our natural habitat, see us at the fire station, see our fire truck, see our equipment. And that's a great program that's been very successful for us. There's also fireinyu.com, which we've utilized a lot over the years, which is just some videos, people telling their story about becoming volunteers. And we send out that link quite often to our email base. And I'll talk about that in a bit. We also send out letters. We send out a variety of letters throughout the year. We have fund drives. We have letters to businesses, just kind of updating them on what we're doing and asking for support, not just money, but partnering. So there might be things that they can do for us. There might be things we do for them. There's surveys every month that go out. So there's a lot of letters that go out. In every one of those letters, there's some recruitment piece that's in there. Depending on the time of year, the season, things like that, we would have different things in. The personal connection. So you meet your friends, family, new neighbors. Walk up and press the flesh, introduce yourself, and make sure that they know that the fire department is volunteer and we're taking members. We did it when we started doing our surveys. We have a question in there. Do you know that Bushnell's Basin Fire Department is all volunteer? The response was very high, in the 70% range, that they did not know that we were volunteer. And they also made good comments about our response time, but and by and large, people did not realize that we were volunteers. So we had to do a lot of awareness building, make sure people knew that, and make sure that they knew that they had an opportunity to come and join us. We also do a variety of face-to-face opportunities. We have open houses, that's plural, because we do a few throughout the year where people can come in and see us at in our fire station. We also do a whole lot of tours. We host a lot of tours for community groups. We have a lot of demonstrations where folks can come into our fire station and see us and learn about fire safety and prevention. One of the things I don't have on this list, but we do, is if we host fundraisers for other organizations. The Boy Scouts might have a pancake breakfast, or there might be other fundraising efforts. People are coming into the fire station. We're not charging the organization. That's part of what we do to give back. But it does give us an opportunity to recruit the heck out of the people that are coming to their event. So we do that. We also host the election every year. There's voting. We're a polling place, so people can come in and vote, and they're also going to get a whole lot of information about us. We have signage. We can't hand things out to people in that setting. We probably could, but it gets a little dicey. But they're certainly going to be subjected to our posters and paraphernalia. So the propaganda that they might see is for them to join the volunteer fire department. We have job fairs that we get involved in the community. We have other community meetings. And then this really cool thing, neighborhood drills, where we go into the neighborhood and we send a note to the residents of that neighborhood. We might go into a cul-de-sac or some other area where we're going to actually conduct our drill right in their cul-de-sac, right in their neighborhood. We'll send a note ahead of time to let them know that we're going to be there and that they can come and watch us. And we make sure that there's opportunities for them to watch us. And then when we're all done, there's opportunities for them to come and talk to us, and for their kids, frankly, to climb all over our stuff and see what we do. So the kids bring the adults. So if you attract the kids, the adults come, and then you can recruit the heck out of the adults. So it's like using the dog to get dates. When I got involved, and probably a lot of people got involved, there was this thing called Emergency, which was a TV show that really was immensely popular. It really got things going in EMS but it certainly also helped the fire department. And it showed kind of the story behind the story of the fire service and EMS, and it was exciting. And yeah, we can sit back and if you watch these now, you go, they're doing it wrong. You know what? None of that matters because the general population doesn't know that. It's still exciting. There's still things that people love about this. But it really helped build the fire and EMS service in a lot of ways. I'm not sure that it helped volunteer fire departments, but it certainly created a lot of buzz. These are things that we have to do, create buzz. We need to create a lot of things to get people interested. We really need to make sure people understand that, you know, what we're doing is important, it's exciting, and that they can do it. That's the big thing. And the benefit that they might have is camaraderie, some excitement, putting their skills to the test. That's exciting stuff. And it also can connect to what's known as the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if you took the recruitment and retention coordinator certification last year, this was a big thing that was in there. You know, where people are in their life really dictates the needs that they have at that time. So if you have psychological needs, you want the basics, basically, you know, air, water, food. You know, maybe the fire service isn't for you at that point, unless maybe somehow that's getting you out of the dregs of society and you can become a firefighter. But when you start getting into safety, you know, there's strength in numbers. There's you know, things that people can get involved in, and they feel more secure in their environment. Maybe they're going to learn how to take care of themselves, how to, you know, be safe, and how to practice good safety. These are all things that as you move up the hierarchy, you'll see things that become more related maybe to the fire department. The next one is where we see a lot of people start to come in, where there's, you know, somebody wants to belong to an organization. They want to belong to something. This is very often the, you know, I want to be involved in something bigger than myself. They want friends. They want maybe lifelong friends. They want to have a connection. This could be a connection to their community. It could be connection to their to an organization, people that they want to associate with. Those are all big things, and we can relate to that. When we get into STEAM, this is an area we've seen a huge growth in, where where people really feel like they want some recognition. They want to give back, but they also want to feel appreciated. They want to maybe feel like they're making a contribution, and people feel good about them doing that. And then when you get into self-actualization, that's another place where people can really be all they can be. And this is another area that's been a big growth area for us. We've had a number of CrossFit athletes, other people that marathon runners that have joined us that look at the fire service as another challenge, another physical challenge that they can overcome, that they can really make a difference and contribute, and feel challenged and feel good when they overcome that challenge and they're able to perform on a fire ground. They're able to do what they need to do. So, and our job really is to try to relate all that we can to the needs of the individual. And frankly, if there's no connection, they're not likely to become a member. But when you know where they are and what they can relate to, that's the time to get involved and strike. That's the time to go for the close, as we would say. So this is just a picture that we update pretty regularly. Thank God, because some of these guys aren't that good looking, but they're better looking than they were. So we update pictures. So anything we send out to the community has a picture, and we always have something in there asking if they can picture themselves here. So this was our this was a picture taken every couple of years. We update this picture, and we have the whole as many of the department members in the picture as we can. And then we use this for a lot of marketing, and you can see it says, "Can you picture yourself here?" And this is just you know, on a lot of flyers, on a lot of letters, and various brochures, so people can see, hey, you know, maybe you see your neighbor in this. When you have a lot of people, they start looking, going, you know, that's my neighbor. That's, you know, that's my friend. That's my coworker. It's a guy sitting next to in church. All those things that you can make a connection. Well, if he or she can do it, why can't I? You know, or maybe I should. And you know, anything you can do to make that connection is what this is all about. Sales is a people business, and people buy from people, and they buy from people they like. So establish relationships, get people to like you, and then get them involved and sell them on your organization. One of the things that we did was to get our folks ready. We wanted to have our members. We didn't want to, you know, just have a few people or a dedicated group that would walk around and try to sell a potential member, one of our residents, sell them on how to on joining and what they would have to do. And then we took it to another extension and we said, you know, this is for our open house. This is when we participate in job fairs or community meetings. But guess what else we can do? We respond to alarms. So not all of our alarms are working fires or really involved scenarios. Sometimes we're sitting around, you know, there's a natural gas leak. We have to wait for the gas company to show up, and you know, we don't have any readings, but somebody wants to make sure that that everything's okay. So the natural gas companies come in, or it's an automatic alarm, and we're waiting for a contact to show up. And you look around and you go, hey, you know, one of the neighbors is here, and you know, he's just kind of checking out the fire trucks. Well, you know, you could take one approach and just sit there, and they look at you and you look at them, and you never get an opportunity to talk. Or you can get yourself out of the fire truck, hop down on the ground, walk over, shake their hand, introduce yourself, and start talking to them. And it's amazing to me how simple it is. There's no magic to it. This is just talking to people. People get nervous about this, but there's really no reason to. And once we took people through this, our members through this, they're like, this is pretty easy stuff. I said, yeah. It's not like, you know, it's not like you see, you know, we always got to be closing, ABC, always be closing. You know, it's not high pressure. It's not, you got to memorize a script. It's just talking to people. And it's amazing, a very simple question that has gathered a whole ton of members for us. We just simply walk up, hey, have you ever thought about being a firefighter? And it's amazing how many people will say, yeah, when I was a kid, maybe, or, I've always wanted to be. I had one guy, we were at an MVA where everything was all done. We were just waiting for the tow trucks to pick up. And I turned around and there's a guy watching us. And, I said, hey, do you ever want to be a firefighter? And he said, yeah. I said, really? Why didn't you ever join? He goes, nobody ever asked. I said, well, I'm asking. And he said, what do I have to do? I said, well, what are you doing now? Nothing. I'm just, sitting here. I've got nothing to do. I said, well, why don't you hop in your truck, follow us back to the fire station. We're going to wash the truck. Come on down. This guy not only followed us, came to our fire station, he helped us wash the trucks. He talked to us. The guy was in his 50s. Turns out he's wanted to be a firefighter forever. Just never did it. Something always got in the way. He was working a couple jobs. He was getting married. They were having kids. And nobody came along and asked him about it. And so he didn't think about it, and he just did what he normally does. So all of a sudden we ask him, he's one of our most productive members. He's, his response to alarms is great, but he does a lot of other things around the fire station. He's a handyman. He's always fixing things. He's always organizing things. And it's amazing how one little question, you ever think about being a firefighter, made all the difference in the world. So we're not talking about hard, Glenn Ross, if you've seen that, ABC, Always Be Closing. The first prize is a Cadillac, second prize is a set of steak knives, and third prize, you get to keep your job. For anybody that's ever seen that, that's kind of a classic sales movie, I guess. But it's not like that. It's just talking to people. There's no script. You don't have to get yourself ready. If you can talk to people, you can just walk up and talk to them. We have one of our members he's one of our senior members, but he's not active on the fire ground anymore, but he does a lot of work helping us out administratively. And he recruits more people than you can shake a stick at. That guy, and he has a very simplistic response. He's very good at picking up people's dialect, people's accent. Now, what you don't know, and I'll share this with everybody all across the country right now, is that people from upstate New York do not have an accent. Everybody else does, but we don't. When I watched him, he would listen to people and he'd figure out where they're from. And man, he was so correct. He was so good. He would pick up, you from Boston, are you from, he would even name states. So it wasn't like, are you from down south? Are you from out west? He would say, I think you sound like you're from Georgia. And yeah, I am. Oh, that's great. Where do you live now? Well, we moved into Perrington years ago, and we always wanted to have a nice house in a nice neighborhood, so here we are. And all of a sudden he's just chatting, and he would have something in common, one way or another. It might take him 5 minutes, it might take him 15 minutes, 20 minutes. He found something in common with everybody that he talked to. It might just be, that they worked at the same company. Maybe they went to the same school. Maybe they knew somebody that went to the same school. It was amazing. And all he was doing was chatting with people. And I'm pretty sure I saw a lot of people at my RRC meeting class in Brighton, and everybody was pretty sociable. When we went out, there were no wallflowers that I saw. Nobody was sitting by themselves, not talking, other than Tiger, but that wasn't his choice. That really, there's just so many things that you can talk about, and it's amazing. You will find something to talk to people about. It's just talking. But what happens is when you talk about things and you say, would you like to be a volunteer firefighter? Have you ever thought about being a volunteer firefighter? We would like you to join. Any of those things, until you say something, until you ask a question, there's nothing to talk about. So if you start the conversation, have you ever thought about being a volunteer firefighter? Or, hey, we would love for you to join. Now that person has something to think about. You've made a proposal, if you will. You made a statement. Now they have to react to it. What's their reaction going to be? I don't know. But I can tell you that there's a set of objections, because very rarely, on occasion, but very rarely do people go, yep, that's exactly what I want. Usually they have some kind of objection. They don't want to jump in with both feet, maybe. I don't know. I had one gentleman that, he came down several times for open houses. We would ask him to join or give him information, and he just never took the step. So, one day I did the thing that I hate doing. I hate this question. What's it going to take for you to join our fire department? But he had been there enough, so I thought that was probably the best question to ask at that point in time. And he said, my wife and I are empty nesters. I would love to join. We're young empty nesters, but I like to there's times where my wife and I might be on the deck and we might have a cocktail while we're cooking out dinner or something like that. So I want to be able to do that. I mean, I don't want to. I looked at him and I said, yeah, we do that. We all do that. I think everybody has to have relaxation time, whatever that relaxation is. But yeah, absolutely, positively. I mean, we're not looking for 24/7, 365. We're looking for you to pitch in and help take some of the weight off the other folks. And with that, he said, where do I sign? And that was it. But some people do put up objections. There's some common objections, and we hear this. We hear this probably a lot. And if you throw it out there, this is the situation where, if you don't address it, it just lays there and it prevents somebody from joining. So you really have to address these things, and they're simple. I don't have time. It's probably not for me. I wasn't aware that there were these opportunities. I'm not sure I would fit in. I'm not sure I would qualify. And I don't know if I have what it takes. How many people have heard these comments back when you asked what if people would join? Probably everybody has. So, these are things that, that this may not be all inclusive, but if you hear these things, these are things that people really want you to respond. And they want to hear what you have to say about this, because they're kind of dipping their toe in the water. They're saying, yeah, I think I'm kind of interested, but maybe not. So they want you to convince them, usually. Now, there are times, and we've had this happen in our open house, in various other community events, where we've walked up to somebody and said, hey, hey, have you thought about being a firefighter, volunteer firefighter? And we've gotten what I would consider kind of harsh responses. I have no interest in joining your organization. Just brought my kids here. Kind of leave me alone. When you get those responses, that's probably a definite response where you just thank them for attending, give them some literature about fire prevention and safety, maybe ask to keep us in mind in the future. Maybe they're at a point in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maybe they're down at the bottom where they're trying to take care of their basic needs, their basic, survival, if you will, and they don't see themselves as having any time or any ability to put anything in. Okay, move on. Hopefully you'll keep us in mind, although maybe not. Maybe that's not the type of person you want. But for those things that people give us a response, address the items. They're often reflex responses. Somebody says, hey, do you want to do this? No, not really. Okay. Maybe they're just looking for more information. We don't want to pester people. We really don't. We don't want to turn this into a hard sale. In fact, I'll get to this at the bottom, but we just want to address items. We just want to give them a response that will address and allay the objection and then move to the next step. If we don't address it, if we leave that item there, then that person walks away and they're not a prospect anymore. They're not going to join. And it's very often that people will say, well, they didn't tell me otherwise. They didn't convince me. So it must really be way too much time and effort to join. Well, it's not. There is time required. There is effort required, but we did it, and it can be done. One of the basic rules that we have, and I would encourage everybody to have, is do not hard sell anyone. If you have to do a hard sale, and if you have to convince somebody really hard, twist their arm, as they say, to join, they're not the right prospect. You're going to have to twist their arm, or potentially, as we say, maybe kiss something in order to get them to do things. That's not what we're doing. We're all in this together. So we're looking for somebody to join us, grab an oar and start rowing. We're not looking for somebody that says, well, you got me in here, now what are you going to do to keep me? You're here to help. So don't put yourself in that position where you hard sell them and then they feel like you owe them for the rest of their volunteer career. There's this thing called an elevator speech, and it really isn't. It isn't salesy. It isn't meant to be salesy. It's not. It's not something that's really scripted or has to be scripted. It's really just a story that comes from your heart and reflects how you really feel. And if it's BS, that's going to usually be quickly identified. And you don't have to hit all the points. My story, and I've been telling this story for 37 years or longer. But after my father was saved by our local ambulance, um, when we met at the hospital afterwards, I said, hey, you know what? Thank you so much. We'll make a really good donation. And they looked and they said, you know what? We really need volunteers. And I looked at that and said, that's me. I'm doing that. And I joined. I got involved. I was involved in EMS, riding on an ambulance. We worked a lot and continue to work with the fire department. I was attracted to joining the fire department in my area, and I did both for a long time, but I'm still in the fire department, and I wanted to make that as my contribution to the community. Just telling that story is simple. I didn't have to memorize anything. I just told a story right from the heart. I have told that story and had people say, well, that happened to me. I'm in the same boat. I've been thinking about joining the fire department, and you're right. I need to give back. You know what? I'm not making any judgment. I'm not telling people what to do. But if they see themselves in that, welcome aboard. How many times have people heard that they don't have time? I don't have time for that. Well, some possible responses. Again, these are things that you can say. You don't have to memorize them. They're just things to think about. You're donating your free time. We're not looking for all of it. We're looking for some of it, whatever you're able to give. I always relate the story about how busy my wife and I are. We both work. We have both have careers, both involved in the community, not just in the fire department, but in other places, church and other things. We don't want all their free time. Whatever they're willing and able to give to us. We have things for them to do. And we also want to drive the point home. We're just asking them to help reduce the time and effort that other people are already putting into this. Give some other folks a break. And we're not looking for an unreasonable commitment. By the way, this is a time when and it came up a lot during our recruitment and retention class last year, but this drives home the point that you don't want to do a desperate message. You don't want to do you must join your fire department or we're all going to die. Can't do that. It becomes a desperate attempt, and it's seen that way. And then people say, well, I don't want to join the fire department. What if I get stuck? What if I'm that guy that's doing all that stuff and nobody's there to help me or relieve me or whatever? So I would strongly recommend you not make those kind of desperate pleas. It's probably not for me. This is another objection you'll receive potentially. And these are some responses. None of us were born firefighters. We might have people that spend a lot of time at the fire station. We might have people that have been here a long time. And there might be people that do a really good job, but they learned how to do this. We were trained. And this is a great way to contribute to the community. And we have something for everyone to do. We have people that work on our computer system. We have people that manage our database for our fund drive. We have people that track our inventory. And so there is something for everybody to do. And we always say, well, how will you know until you try? Because could be in the back of their mind, they really want to do this. And we'll say things like, we're asking you to join now. Just check us out. This is not a lifetime commitment. If you join, you don't like it, you can quit. There's no big deal. And then we always relate it back to ourselves if we can, if it makes sense. But, I thought the same thing. But then I attended a drill talked to some members, and I was hooked. And that's the real story. As soon as I talked to some people, holy cow, I made connections. It was the right place for me. I wasn't aware that there were opportunities. This is the downside that we've had sometimes, where people say, you guys are so proficient. You guys are so, your response was so good. You can't be volunteers. Well, we are. The downside of that is then they don't realize necessarily that there's opportunities for them to join. So we always say things like, we may be the best kept secret in town. Again, there's something for everyone to do. We're looking to close, if you will. We're looking for the next step, which is not necessarily that they complete an application and sign on the dotted line, but they attend drill and check us out. And again, we relate it back to them. What are your interests? We probably have something for you to do. Good at computers? We got something for you to do. And I'm not sure I would fit in. You know what? We have a very diverse fire department. And frankly, in an area that's not that diverse. I think we're probably more diverse than our community is. All walks of life, races, religion, sexual orientation. We are very diverse. We truly come from all walks of life, and we come together to serve the community. It's that building a connection that really seems to draw people in. Again, attend drill. We're not looking for you to sign up now, cut your fingers, sign in blood, and let's move on. We just want you to attend drill. We just want you to find out what's going on. Let's see if there is anything there. Is there a connection? Our similarities are in the approach of what we do and how we do it. Our diversity makes us stronger. And if people are worried about not knowing anybody or not fitting in, bring friends, join together. I say all the time when we have open houses or recruitment events, hurry up, sign up. We got a 2-for-1 special for the next 5 minutes. 2 members join for the price of 1. And it's funny, people that sometimes gets people going, oh, okay, all right, well, whatever. I've talked to you long enough. Let me sign up. It's amazing what gets people to take that next step. I'm not sure I would qualify. Sometimes we hear these responses. Again, we all come from backgrounds and we bring different talents to the job. And we drive this point home a lot. We train a lot. And we put people in various training situations that are very controlled, or as controlled as we can make them. And we would not put them in any situations until that person's ready. And until that person's ready is from their perspective and from ours. And I tell people all the time, we all have the desire to help. And then we train them to be firefighters. I always say all the time, we can teach you how to be a firefighter. We can't teach you how to care. If you don't care, it's a non-starter. We're probably not going to do this together. And we have a whole lot of people that tell us when they join, after they get into it for a very short period of time, they'll say, oh my God, I wish I did this years ago. I wish I joined sooner. One of our members just had his first anniversary. Guy's a rock star. He had no idea what firefighting was about. He joined. He took the county firefighter 1 class. He took our internal recruit class. Rock star. Turned out to be very talented. He had no idea. We had no idea. Very talented. He took it upon himself to make a Facebook post and talk about how much he enjoyed being a member on his first anniversary. And it was so heartfelt that we plagiarize the heck out of it. We have it in as many of our recruitment pieces as we can. And his last statement was, the only thing I wish for is that I had done this sooner. You know what? We're telling that story all over the place. We're saying, don't let this be you. Join now. I don't know if I have what it takes. Again, a lot of these are similar, but some responses to think about. Again, we weren't born firefighters. We learned it. And also, this is a great one. This is a great way to serve the community. And we've done some recruiting at places like CrossFit and other workout establishments, and we've challenged people. Hey, you think going through a marathon is tough? Try going through a marathon with about 50 pounds of equipment on and fire all around you, and it's hot. Now let's see what you can do. And it's amazing. We've had people step up and go, man, this is the next step in my challenge. Okay, great. We'll give you an opportunity to challenge yourself. So what are we trying to do? Again, we're not trying to twist arms. We don't want to do that. If there's a point where it becomes a hard sell, we don't want that. All we're trying to do is to get prospects to our membership committee, trying to get prospects to attend drill so they can see what we do. They can talk to members. We let them talk to every member, ask any question they want. And we have a lot of our members that will talk to them and ask them. And it's amazing. Sometimes they'll go, hey, aren't you so-and-so? I think we were in school together. Okay, great. All of a sudden, there's a connection. Great way to bring people in. So it's not necessarily that we're trying to get the application completed, although we certainly want that eventually. We want them to continue to be interested and maybe take that interest to the next level where they're really interested, and maybe at the point where they'll complete an application and start the process. And again, if at any point a prospect pushes back hard and indicates no interest, then we're done talking. We're not going to twist somebody's arm. We're not going to try to make them do. We probably couldn't do it anyhow. How do you make somebody do a volunteer activity? But really and truly, this is all we're trying to do is build up our membership base and sell ourselves. And you know what? If we really believe in what we're doing, and we believe in our organization, and we believe that what we're doing is great and worthwhile and worthy of people's time, this is not a hard sell at all. This is just telling your story and getting people connected. Since Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died, I'll use a quote that's attributed to her, where go fight your fight in such a way that other people want to join you. So go tell the story of your fire department and how important it is, and how important it is what you do for the community in such a way that people want to join you. So that's my story. That's our success story. What we've been able to do in the past 2 years is increase our membership. Our stated goal, because we always make this statement that we're looking for 5% or 10%, because we throw those numbers out. The first year, we almost doubled our membership, going back 2 years ago. So I'm just talking about the recent initiative, new initiative. The pandemic has been tough to get through, but we took in 4 new members during the pandemic. And you know, that in and of itself was, I'll call a win. We are partnering with the other fire departments in our town. There's 5 fire departments that cover our town, 3 of which are actually only serve our town or part of our town. We're partnering with them and sharing our expertise, sharing ideas, and sharing workloads, so we all really grow together. So, you know, from my perspective, this is a great thing. From my perspective, I can tell you I've done a lot of things in my life. Being a volunteer firefighter and emergency services worker has probably been the best thing I've done in my life. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And, you know, again, it's not a hard sell. It's not a sign on the dotted line. It's telling a story and connecting with people. And I think we can all do that.
Bill, thanks so much. That was
All right.
great. I'm opening up. Does anybody have any questions for Bill? There's a raise your hand button, and I'm happy to, if there's any questions, unmute people, or if you just want to mute yourself. Either way.
Hi, Bill. This is Karen from Loudoun County. You mentioned not sort of forcing people to be there, but and as you know too, sometimes a warm body looks really good, and so you bring them on probably sooner than maybe they might need to be there. What do you do, or how do you deal with persons who may not be a right fit for your agency?
We don't accept them. We have a pretty rigorous admission process, background check, interviews with our membership committee, interviews with the president or his or her delegate, designee, I guess, the chief. One of the chiefs will always talk to the person. If they're not a good fit, then we've said goodbye to some people. We thank them for their time, and we you know, we're very careful. We have to make sure that we're, you know, following the laws. We're actually, you know, all those laws of you know, we have to make sure that we're following the letter of the law. But if it's just a matter of not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And usually the person would know that. We've had a couple people that were kind of sketchy. I guess that's a good way to put it. And we didn't take them. And, you know, we just had, you know, a gut feel, or it was the opinion of the whole committee. And, you know, they weren't going to be a fit. And we just tell them, you know, we're very upfront. We thank them for their time, but that, you know, that we're not going to move forward.
So you're pretty selective with your screenings. That's good.
Yeah.
A lot of great ideas. Thank you very much for this conversation. Sure. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you're in warmer climate, I'm happy to travel. Once the quarantine is over and Comrade Cuomo lets people back in and out of New York State.
Will do, sir.
Brenda, you had a question?
I'm wondering if any visitor to your drills had ever been injured while there, and if so, was it an insurance issue?
We never get them that close. That's a great question, Brenda. That we never get them that close, and we never let them alone. Like they're walking around, you know, they, you know, we're watching, we're all around them for trip hazards, things like that, cleaning up to make sure there's no trip hazards. They're not going to do anything, even grab, you know, a tool that they may not realize how heavy it is, where they might injure themselves. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, when people have come and watch, we did have, I guess, Brendan, let me back up. We did have one gentleman that came to a town park where we were having our neighborhood drill, and they were just walking from the parking lot. They walked across the lawn to kind of set up where we were going to be, and they turned their ankle. Well, they kind of, hey, this happened here. This was not safe. I said, we haven't even done anything yet. We're not even set up. You just walked across the lawn, but we're not gonna do that. We said, look, do what you need to do, get it taken care of. If your insurance company wants to pursue it with us, we'll absolutely positively work with them, not against them. We won't make this contentious to the extent we can. I think our insurance company did reach out, and they said, yeah, we're going to settle because this guy is saying that some of your stuff was there. Well, it wasn't, but we weren't going to get into I said, she said, they said. We just let our insurance company handle it. But we make it as safe as possible. I guess there's no way to handle everything, and we have a very litigious society anyhow. So, we do the best we can.
Any other questions? I know Todd had pointed out that the ride-along, there's a lot of people that do ride-alongs, such as the drill you're talking about, Bill, and yeah, getting a release for the ride-alongs is a common thing in fire departments as well. So
yeah.
Let's see, we did have one recent comment. So Caroline posted, I never thought I could understand sales. Now I'm thinking twice. Fantastic presentation. How do you choose or engage with local organizations that connect those who want to volunteer with volunteer opportunities?
So in terms of community groups that we work with, we work with as many as we can, as many that will work with us that are, above board. The normal, the churches in town, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Lions Club, the Chamber of Commerce. We don't get involved in political organizations. We don't get involved in anything that might be controversial. Those organizations in town that are very what I would say share our values in terms of helping the community. In the businesses that we work with, that gets to be a little bit dicey, because we've had some that have tried to use us for their advertising and without sharing with us what they were planning on doing. And we said, no, that's not a message we want to be involved in. Really, we're not rejecting you. We're not pushing away from you, but just let's work on the messaging together. And most everybody understands, hey, let's figure it out and work with them. We don't want any controversy on the other end, but that has only come up once, and it was put to bed very quickly, and never materialized. So, but it is something like anything else. You have to watch your image. You always have to be watching your image.
Absolutely. Caroline brought up another point. She said locally, there's a website, Volunteer New York, but she doesn't see anything on there about volunteering with your fire department. I will say it would behoove everybody to go through and just look at your local volunteering opportunities. Something like that, where people might not be specifically looking for a fire department to volunteer for, but just volunteering in general. And you might check to make sure that your fire department is listed on those types of either websites or even organizations. So something to think about. Brenda, you had a question?
I was just going to comment. A couple of years ago, we held a volunteer fair in conjunction with a lot of the nonprofits in Warren County. And so we just set up at the community center and advertised and had people come by that were just interested in volunteering in general. And there were probably about 20 booths that they could visit to see what skills they had and where it matched best. And you would think that you wouldn't want to do that, with all the competition, but it actually was pretty interesting the way it turned out. So we've only done it the one time, but it was an interesting concept of just having all the volunteers in the community come and shop for a place to volunteer.
That's pretty interesting. I've never heard of that. That is pretty interesting.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great idea. And you know what? If we're going to stand out with a bunch of other organizations, we got some pretty cool trucks that we can bring to get a lot of attention.
Absolutely. We'll win that battle.
Yeah.
Unless it's like the National Guard or something to bring a tank or something like that. But Well, Bill, thanks so much. I did have a couple of things here. So I really am impressed by y'all's emails. So thanks to everybody. I know Brenda put in a question about surveys yesterday, and almost twice a week, it seems like, a couple emails come out. Hey, how do I do this? What are your thoughts on this? Not only do we get to see some great stuff, Brenda's questions, they were really some thought-provoking questions, but we also get feedback. And I really, that's really what this group is all about. There's no one answer, and we all have some expertise we can offer, or some experience that most of mine is from, well, I tried that once and it really failed miserably. So thanks to everybody that's been chipping in and answering these emails. And I sent another email out. So Dr. Pat Lynch is one of our SMEs, our subject matter experts, and she's on our email list and participates in a lot of things. I sent an email out. You can get her book that she wrote. It's really straightforward. It's, I think, 52 pages, very quick, down and dirty on surveys. And she wrote it more for the business, but it really does more, it pertains a lot to doing surveys, internal surveys of your membership, and a lot. And it's not academic in nature. It's just very straightforward. So she's a great resource that we have as well. So I wanted to go around. Is there anybody that would like to share a recent success or challenge that they've had, and would like to share with the group or talk about it with the group? I see we've got some new people on, and want to welcome everybody that's joined. We're up to about 130 members now. So, but thanks to everybody that's joining and participating. I think the other part of this success is being sure that if you know somebody that would be interested in this information, it doesn't just have to be one person in your department. There's sometimes whole committees are on here, or anybody that could be involved in recruitment or retention. Just tell them to send me an email and I'll get them to this group. So if there's no successes or challenges that people are facing, I will ask that you join us next month as well. So Amy Behune, she's from Cranberry Township outside of Pittsburgh, and she's going to be talking on how to utilize associate members effectively. That'll be October 22nd at 7 p.m. And so that should be a good discussion about associate members. The other thing I would ask is when we first started this thing, we were looking to do a quarterly meeting, and now we've got enough people that want to present that we're doing it every month. As long as we have people that want to present, we'll do it every month. And so if you'd like to present, I have people right now through February. If you'd like to present, we'll find something for you to present on. And this meeting is not about, the people that came and taught the RRC class and everything. It's to share what everybody else is doing across the country. So all of you are experts in your own way, and I want to be sure and spotlight what you're doing in your community. So I'd love to have you present And so if I don't hear from people, I'm going to call on you personally. I'm going to use Bill's sales tactics and get you to do that. So any questions or anything on your mind? All right. Well, thank y'all so much. As always, we'll post this on our YouTube channel. And Bill, is it okay to share your slides with the group?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. And I'll shoot out an email with the YouTube link and all the information for this. But thank y'all so much. As always, reach out if you need something. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Spencer. It's
Good
great.
night. Thanks.
Great.
Thank you, Bill.
Good night.
Good night, Rick. See you, Brenda.
Good night.